When Jungkook released his latest dance clip on TikTok, the internet didn't just react, it erupted. Within hours, the video broke through digital sound barriers, accumulating tens of millions of views before the first day had even ended. No ads, no staged hype, no artificial push, just Jungkook, his rhythm, and the force of his name. What unfolded in those 24 hours wasn't merely a viral moment. It was a cultural ignition point that proved something the industry has long suspected. Jungkook no longer plays by the rules of fame. He is the rule. The astonishing speed of this record-breaking surge wasn't a coincidence. It was the convergence of identity, artistry, and timing elements that Jungkook has mastered, not as a strategy, but as a natural extension of who he is. Millions clicked, not out of curiosity, but out of compulsion. There's a gravity to Jungkook's presence, the kind that doesn't need translation or explanation. When he moves, the world doesn't just watch, it synchronizes. This TikTok moment symbolized the very essence of digital evolution. In an era where attention is the rarest currency, Jungkook commands it effortlessly. His latest clip, raw, fluid, confident, distilled everything people love about him. The precision of his moves, the unshakable control, and the emotional honesty that leaks through every frame. It wasn't just dance, it was a statement. And in less than 24 hours, that statement became a record-breaking testament to his unmatched cultural power. It began like any other post. No teaser, no cinematic build-up. Jungkook simply appeared clean, focused, and fully immersed in rhythm. That simplicity was his weapon. The world has grown numb to grand marketing and digital overload. But Jungkook did the opposite. He stripped everything away. No filters, no exaggeration, no forced persona. Just him and the beat. That authenticity triggered what no algorithm could predict: mass emotional response. Every view came with a heartbeat. Every share came with a conversation. Every replay came with disbelief. How does he move like that? How is it possible for a single clip to feel this alive? These weren't fan questions, they were the world's reaction to a new kind of performance language. Jungkook doesn't dance for attention. He dances because it's the truest form of his communication. And that's what people felt: honesty. Within 6 hours, the video surpassed milestones that take others days or weeks. Within 12, it dominated global charts and recommendation feeds. By 24, it wasn't just a trending topic, it was a phenomenon. It had already broken TikTok's internal records for engagement velocity. No one else had ever moved audiences this fast, this wide, or this emotionally. But to understand why it happened, you need to look beyond metrics. Jungkook didn't just create a viral clip, he created a moment of shared electricity. His moves didn't follow choreography trends, they created them. His timing wasn't lucky, it was intuitive. Jungkook's relationship with rhythm has always been instinctive. But here, it reached a level of precision that felt almost supernatural. He made motion feel human again, in a digital world that had become mechanical. When typical artists go viral, it's a flash. When Jungkook goes viral, it's a wave that reshapes the digital coastline. There's a difference between popularity and phenomenon. Jungkook consistently belongs to the latter. His fame doesn't depend on platform trends. Instead, trends bend themselves around him. And the proof lies in what happened after that 24-hour explosion. Dance creators across continents began replicating his moves. Pop culture accounts started dissecting his rhythm. Even non-fans, those who had never followed K-pop, found themselves drawn into his orbit. The reason Jungkook's TikTok success feels so powerful is because it doesn't read as performance, it reads as truth. Every movement he makes carries intent. There's precision, but never rigidity. There's perfection, but never distance. Jungkook knows exactly where to draw the line between control and emotion, and that balance is what keeps viewers unable to look away. In those 15 seconds, he delivers what most artists fail to capture in full album's authenticity, that feels alive. The world is used to overproduction, but Jungkook, ironically, wins by doing less. He doesn't try to impress, he expresses. And that's why the internet reacts with such urgency, because they can sense something real in a space that's mostly synthetic. When people say Jungkook broke the record, they're not just referring to numbers. They're acknowledging that something pure still has the power to dominate the most artificial ecosystem on Earth, social media. The TikTok record wasn't just a reflection of popularity, it was proof of resonance. And resonance lasts longer than virality. What's remarkable about this milestone is that it felt emotional even before the data came in. Watching that clip didn't feel like observing a star perform, it felt like witnessing a person express. There's a difference. Jungkook doesn't posture for attention. He allows his rhythm to speak for him. You can feel the precision in his steps, but also the vulnerability beneath them. The slight shoulder roll, the seamless turn, the gaze that meets the camera for a fraction of a second, all those micro moments are why people replay the video again and again. In less than 24 hours, TikTok wasn't just hosting a viral dance. It was hosting an emotional experience that people kept revisiting to feel something. Jungkook had somehow transformed the most fast-paced, disposable content platform into a stage for timeless expression. That's rare. That's what separates entertainers from icons. And yet, for Jungkook, it seemed effortless. That's the paradox. The deeper one looks into his artistry, the more it becomes clear that his impact isn't accidental. It's built on years of discipline, refinement, and instinctual understanding of what moves people literally and emotionally. His dance doesn't scream for validation, it whispers confidence. It carries a sense of mastery that only exists in artists who no longer need to prove anything. Before Jungkook, TikTok virality often meant fleeting fame, a momentary spotlight, before the next trend replaced it. But what Jungkook did was redefine the very meaning of virality. His success wasn't algorithmic luck, it was artistic gravity. He didn't chase the trend, he became the trend. His moves sparked conversations not just about dance, but about cultural identity, influence, and the future of digital artistry. For TikTok, the platform itself benefited from this energy. Jungkook brought something that even the app's developers couldn't manufacture: credibility. A global superstar of his caliber choosing TikTok as his stage gave the platform a cultural legitimacy beyond Gen Z trends. It became a performance venue, one where artistry could live alongside entertainment. And Jungkook stood at the center of that transformation. The record was just the headline. The real story was about evolution of fame, of media, of connection. Jungkook proved that even in a world run by algorithms, the most powerful force remains human energy. When an artist reaches that point, numbers stop being goals, they become confirmations. Jungkook's 24-hour record isn't just a statistic, it's proof that authenticity still wins. In a time when virality is engineered, he reminded the world that real connection doesn't need marketing, it just needs truth. And that's why the clip didn't fade after 24 hours. It stayed, it lingered, it turned into a cultural echo. Because Jungkook didn't just break a record, he reminded an entire generation what real art looks like in motion. And yet, his control never falters. Every beat feels calculated, but not cold. That's an impossible balance for most to maintain both precision and warmth, to be powerful without being distant. Jungkook makes it look effortless. That's the kind of mastery that doesn't come from training alone, but from empathy, from knowing how to move in ways that make people feel understood. In many ways, his viral dance didn't just break a record. It broke the emotional barrier between artist and audience. That's something no chart or view count can capture. You can't measure resonance. You can only feel it, and millions did. Before Jungkook's post, TikTok's dance ecosystem was dominated by trends, moves designed to be replicated, not remembered. But Jungkook's video disrupted that rhythm completely. His performance wasn't made to be copied, it was made to be experienced. That difference created a cultural aftershock. People didn't want to mimic him, they wanted to understand him. Dance creators started analyzing his technique. Musicians broke down his timing. Fashion blogs zoomed in on his style. He didn't participate in the platform, he shifted it. That's the mark of cultural dominance. Jungkook doesn't simply join existing spaces, he transforms them. Every time he steps into a new medium, whether it's TikTok, YouTube, or a live stage, the entire ecosystem reorganizes around his energy. That's why the TikTok record felt inevitable, yet still astonishing. It wasn't just about a dance video, it was about witnessing influence at its most organic form. TikTok had never seen virality like this. There have been hits, yes, but none with Jungkook's weight, none that blended artistry, vulnerability, and command so flawlessly. The platform is used to chaos. Jungkook brought clarity. It's used to repetition. He brought individuality. That's why even casual users scrolling aimlessly stopped, because what they saw was different. It wasn't noise, it was rhythm that spoke. And this moment wasn't just another peak in his career, it was a redefinition. For years, Jungkook has been described as a perfectionist, an idol, a star, but this record proved something more profound. He's now an institution, a living metric of excellence that the internet itself struggles to quantify. People often mistake Jungkook's success for momentum, but it's actually meaning. What makes him unstoppable isn't constant output, it's intent. Everything he releases feels deliberate, emotionally coded, and sincere. That's why the TikTok clip worked so powerfully. It wasn't an update, it was a message. If you look closely, the choreography doesn't beg for attention. It commands it through calm confidence. Jungkook's movements have a certain humility. He never oversells the moment. He knows that silence between beats carries as much power as the beat itself. That kind of understanding comes from years of internalizing rhythm not as a musician, but as a storyteller. When the clip spread, millions reposted it with captions like, "He makes it look so easy," or "This is why he's untouchable." And they were right, but not in the way they thought. Jungkook's ease isn't about natural talent, it's about emotional fluency. He knows exactly how to let the audience breathe with him, move with him, and feel alongside him. It's an invisible language, and he's fluent in it. The record itself was inevitable, because the art was undeniable. It was the kind of performance that transcends language, geography, and even fandom. You didn't need to know who Jungkook was to be moved by him. That's how you know an artist has crossed into cultural immortality, when emotion replaces explanation. Breaking a record isn't new for Jungkook, but this one felt symbolic, not because of the views, but because of what they represented. It wasn't just a win for him, it was a moment of reflection for an entire generation of digital creators. In an ecosystem often driven by speed and superficiality, Jungkook proved that sincerity still wins. You don't have to chase trends, you just have to mean it. This record became more than a number. It became a symbol of artistic integrity. In every frame, Jungkook embodied something rare, the ability to be vulnerable without losing power. That's a paradox most can't master, yet for him, it's instinctual. That's why he stands apart not just as a performer, but as a symbol of what modern artistry can still be. And perhaps the most poetic part? He didn't even announce it. He didn't say a word. The video appeared, and the world came running. That's not marketing, that's magnetism born of truth. It's what happens when an artist no longer needs to convince anyone of his worth. TikTok is built to create stars. But Jungkook reminded the world that some stars create TikTok moments instead. His record-breaking clip exposed something deeper, that platforms depend on genuine art to stay relevant. Without emotion, everything online is just static. Jungkook gave the platform rhythm again. In less than a day, he didn't just trend, he reset the algorithm itself. Every major feed adjusted around his clip. Every region reflected the surge, and every comment section turned into a digital standing ovation. What's more impressive is that he did it without selling anything, without hyping anything, just existing truthfully in motion. That's what separates Jungkook from everyone else who tries to go viral. They play the game, he is the game. This record isn't the end of a chapter, it's the beginning of a new definition of fame. Fame that isn't quantified by numbers, but by resonance. Fame that doesn't rely on virality, but on vulnerability. Fame that belongs only to those who can move people without trying. That's Jungkook's power, and the 24-hour record was just its latest proof.